All right. Now, if you got 100% in your quiz, you don't need to listen to me. If you did not, please listen to me, which means everybody should listen to me because nobody got 100%. Okay? So listen to me and don't talk, please. Put those things away. Okay? All right. So write a default constructor. I gave you a class and I asked you to give me a default constructor, no argument constructor. Okay? And initialize something to some value. So first of all, when you get questions like this, try to be as quick as possible and simple as possible to respond. Don't write namespaces. Don't write include files. Don't do write everything as if you're doing inline unless I specifically mention to you how to write it. Try to write your questions as simple and short as possible because you don't have time. Okay? So when I ask you to write a class that does this, don't try to write bells and whistles for it because you're just losing time for something that's not going to get you any mark. All right? So one dynamic integer I have, I'm going to call it ODI to just make it simple. All right? So the name of the class is ODI1 dynamic integer, just to be quick. All right? So I said a no argument constructor that initializes one integer pointer to, and let's call that one int ptr. Okay? To initialize that one to something. So the no argument constructor, ODI, no argument constructor that initializes, it means in the initialization area, you should write int ptr and set it to null pointer. And that was it. That's question number one. Okay? And I did not want anything in here. So if you actually set that value to a null, you have to give me a reflection on that. Okay? Let me pause. A copy constructor, writing a copy constructor. The syntax for a copy constructor is always the same. So you put the object name and a constant object name reference. Anything other than this, you did it wrong. Okay, so this is the one that we are copying from. And how do we do the copying in a dynamic environment? First, we do our dynamic allocation. One, only one. So if you had arrays over here, things like that, you're a bad person. If you had things like this, array, whatever, you don't. Only one thing. Okay? One. And I called it one dynamic integer. I put the name one, and still you created an array. Bad people you are. Now, after do the dynamic memory allocation, you set the value of what you allocated to what comes from the copy, the object that you're copying from. So again, target of CP integer pointer. Done. That was your copy constructor. Then I said write a destructor to delete. To destruct, it's always the same way. The name of the name of the class, and delete. Again, the way you create, that's how you delete. If you put square bracket here, you're a bad person. Int ptr. And you're deleting. And you're done. And that's your destructor. All right. That was quiz 1. So this is quiz 1 when you reflect. Sorry, this is quiz 2. This is Q2. This is how you reflect to Q2. So this is the reflection for Q2 is going. Quiz 3. Write a prototype. When I say prototype, it means I do not need implementation people. Prototype. Okay? Now, each of these operators, they can be, yes. It's a constructor. It means the object just was born. It was just born. Deallocate what? It's impossible for anything to be allocated. You are right for an assignment operator. And that's it. Okay, so that's the difference between assignment operator and a constructor. A constructor, you don't deallocate anything because nothing exists. It's the moment of object's creation. All right, next, prototype. So first we're going to go plus equal operator. Whenever you are doing plus equal operator, write a piece of, whenever you are overloading an operator, write a similar operator on a primitive variable and test it. Check how it behaves and write yours accordingly. Which means you write for, I'm going to write over here void foo, just to write a test for myself and see what I'm doing. I said overload the plus equal operator, so I'm going to say int a, b, and c. And I'm going to say a is set to b plus equal c. And then I'll try to design my plus equal operator to act like it does for an integer. Okay? That's the guidance for me to design my operator. Pausing. So, now, I want everybody's attention. Extremely important. Sorry if I blew your eardrums off, but I want everybody's attention. Extremely important. Okay? Moment of truth. This is how you get mark in midterm. Okay? Now, so I said plus equal operator. Look at this plus equal operator and replicate it right exactly what you're doing. When you are overloading an operator, if you are not told if this operator is a member or it's a standalone function, always choose a member. Okay? So you always go with member first. If they didn't tell you, always member first. If they specifically ask you, write a helper function for this, helper operator, then it becomes a non-member standalone function. Okay? I'll do them both for you. Because I didn't mention, it's a good idea to go with a member function. A member function is always like this. When you say A is set B plus equal C, plus equal is what you are overloading. Plus equal is what you're overloading. So it belongs to B. So it belongs to B, and the right hand operand is the argument. It only accepts one. So you write it that way. So you're writing operator plus equal. That's the right hand operator that is going to be. That's the right hand operator that is going to be the see, that's a, just a second. All right. So plus equal. Oh, out anymore. Okay, so one more time. Look at this plus, attention! Look at your plus equal over here, right? When you look at this plus equal and see what happens, first of all, at right side, we are reading this thing. What does it say? It says, write the prototype of plus equal operator that adds the value of a one dynamic integer object to another one dynamic object. So all we have are the object. We don't have any integers. We don't have any doubles. We have nothing. All the objects. So this receives an object. When I write ODI, I just shorthanded it so I don't have to write big stuff. So ODI over here, and it returns an ODI. So the left B over here is the class. B over here, the left-hand operator, is the class itself. The right-hand operator is coming from the argument list. What it returns is what it returns. After writing this, now let's decide what we are passing. Is it a reference? Is it constant? We're going to analyze that. First of all, objects are always passed by reference and never, ever anywhere else. Never, ever decide to pass it by value. Always pass them by reference unless there is an exception. And if you don't understand what an exception is, then it's always a reference. Okay? So I'm not going to even think the first one is an ODI reference. Now I need to see if it's going to, it is a constant or not. Look at C. Will it change after plus equal? No. So it's a constant. Done. So that's this one. Const, ODI, give it some name. And I'm going to always say write operand. I put RO so I remember. What do I return over here? Is what you are returning over here. What is being returned? Is it something new? It already exists in here. It is not something new. It's B, correct? That's what's going to get returned. It's not something new. If it's not something new, if you did not just build it, if it's something that already exists, it's always a reference. So it's going to be a reference. All right? Now, I'm posting this over internet. All right. So now we have to think about the object. The object itself, the left-hand operator. I need to know if this is a constant or not. Will B change after this equation? Yes. So it's not a constant. So I'm done. Now I have to start implementing. Okay? How do we make it a constant? We're going to see in the next one, not here. So now let's do it. I have to add, I said add whatever it's in right-hand side to me. Okay? So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to say, what did I say? Value. So I'm going to say the value of int ptr will be added by the value of the right-hand operator's int ptr. Then return me. Done. Okay? So that's the plus equal operator if we are doing it as a member. All right. Now, second way to do this. Second way to do this is to not make it a member function. Be a bad person. Be a non-object-oriented programmer. If you can do it as a member, you never do it as a standalone. But I'm a bad person. I want to do it as a standalone to see how it's going to work out. If it's a standalone, then the operator name is plus equal. So I'm going to write over here operator plus equal. What it returns is an ODI. So I'm going to put ODI over here. Then the left-hand operand becomes the left argument, ODI, and the right-hand argument becomes the right argument, ODI. So that's the general. Now I have to see what is constant, what is not. Okay? Two rules. Member operators will never have two arguments. If you write that, it means you had no idea what operator overloading is. Member operators never have two arguments. Never. And standalone arguments, if they are binary, they have two. If they are unary, they have one. This is binary, right? So it's going to have two. All right? So these, either nothing or one. You can never have two arguments for a member because the left one is always the object itself. One, it comes with it. It's included with it. It's like you get combo number one. It comes with fries. Always. Okay? That's what it is. So when you do a member operator, one of the operands is always the object. It's impossible. You don't have three operands for an operator, do you? No. Okay? So, now let's decide. The right-hand operator over here. Oh, let's start. So, is what I'm creating over here something new? Is what I'm returning over here something new? No, it already exists. It can be a reference. Actually, I am a very bad person because I implemented that. I said the prototype. So if you do this, you lose mark. Remember that. If you do what I just did, you will lose mark. Why? Because I asked only the prototype. You gave me the whole thing. It means I do not understand what a prototype is. Okay? So this is wrong. This is not the right answer. The right answer is only the prototype. But it's good exercise for us, so I'm doing it. Okay? Remember what I told you? Do you understand this? If you write the body of this and give it to me, you lose mark. It means I do not understand what a prototype is. prototype is only the signature of the function. So only the signature of the function was what I needed. Now, let's do it as outsider. So if it exists over here, it's a reference, so we let it be as a reference. Now, let's look at the left one. The left one, right one, we always pass objects with reference, and that's it. So there are no rules behind it. It is a reference. I'll put a reference over here. Now, the left one, will it change after operation? Yes. So it is not going to be constant. I'm going to put left operand. The right operand, will it change? No. So it has to be a constant. And that's right operand. Right? Your job is done. You got the mark. Now I want to lose some mark, so I'm going to write the body for it. Okay? How do I actually do this? I'm going to say left-hand operator, the target of dot int ptr plus equal the target of right-hand operators int ptr. And you see that it's giving me an error for both. Why? Because this is a non-member. It doesn't have access to the class. I have to make the damn thing a friend, which I'm not going to do. Okay? So, again, I'm giving you bad example, but hey, I just want to tell you what it is. Okay? So if I had, or if I had accessors, so I could do something like, yeah, whatever. So it has to be a friend or something, or setter and getter. Well, we don't want to do it. So essentially, this has to be a friend for this. So I have to have friend. I have to have this as a friend for it to work. Again, I don't know how many times I have to mention this. This is not your quiz. The quiz ended by writing the operator, the thing only, the prototype only. The rest is just for our knowledge. Okay? And then in here, I'm going to say return LO. Return the left operand. Can I do that? Yes. It's a reference. It exists outside. I can return it. It's not going to die. It's nothing new. Okay? Do we understand this? Everything's okay with this? Are we okay with this? So we know that. Perfect. So I'm going to actually make it right. So this was the quiz. Okay? Now, the other one, prototype for minus. If I want to actually implement the minus one, how do I do it? Again, if you can do it as a member, you do it as a member. When can't you do it as a member? When you don't have access to the code of the class. If you have access to the code of the class, it is always a member. But if the left hand is a class you don't have access to, C out, C in, file, some classes that you have in library that you don't have access, then yes, you have to do a non-member function. Okay? So minus operator. So essentially, I need to write this. I need to write A is set to B minus C. Okay? So in here, I'm going to write it is operator minus it's going to return an ODI. And the left-hand operator, the left-hand operand is the class. I don't need to do anything with it. And the right-hand operator is an ODI. And now I know it's a reference. I'm just going to put it. And now I'm going to think. Now that I have written that, now I'm going to start using the brain cells. Down to this point, it's just a template I'm writing. Now let's think. Is A something new? It is. It's B minus C. It doesn't exist in here. It is a product of B minus C. It's neither B nor C because B and C won't change. So if B is 5 and C is 3, A is going to be 2. It's neither of these two. It is something new. Because it is something new, you cannot return a reference. You have to build it and send it out. It is something new. It didn't exist. That value doesn't exist in foo. Because it doesn't exist, it can't be a reference. We let it be. The left side over here, B over here. Will it change after this? The left operand won't change. So I have to make it a constant. How do I do that? You put a const after this. That makes the class constant, the owner constant. Now let's look at the right side. Will the right side change? The right operand? No, so that is a constant too. So it becomes const, and this is right operand. That's it. That's all I needed. That was your quiz. Now if you want to be a bad person, do it outside. How do we do it outside? It's exactly like the other one. So but it's operator minus. It doesn't return a reference. We accomplished that thing. The left side will not change. It's a const. And the right side is a const too. That's it. Finished. Okay? Now, how to actually implement this? If I wanted to implement it, how do I do that? If I actually wanted to implement it, I copied, but what happened? If I wanted to implement that, I would say over here, okay, this is not by reference. Because it's not by reference, I have to build a new one. So I have to create a one dynamic integer object, okay, out of what? Out of the value that I have right now. So I'm going to say, I'm going to make that the value of int ptr. Oh, do I have a constructor that accepts an integer? No, I don't. So I'm just going to copy this. But I have a copy constructor, right? So I'm going to say copy me. Okay? So create an ODI, and that's the result. And I'm going to say copy me. Copy the left one. Now that you copied the left one, I'm going to say result point integer, the target of integer pointer of that one, minus equal the right-hand operators, the target of right-hand operators, int ptr. Therefore, the result will be the right hand minus left hand. Now I can return it. Done. Okay, and there is no problem with me to returning. I know result is going to die, but I'm sending a copy out. Then who cares? Okay, and how do I do the other one? As you see, the implementations are identical almost. There is no code difference, just the values that you're putting in there. So this is essentially the same. The only thing is that I'm just going to copy the whole thing in here, copy, and paste it here. The only difference is that instead of this, it has to be the left operand. I have to copy the left operand. Of course, I don't have access to the values, right? So this damn thing has to be a friend too. Yuck, yuck, yuck. I'm throwing up now. That has to be a friend too. Unless I had accessors for, unless I had accessors for it. And there you go. So As you see, I'm saying more than quiz 234, and the other one is actually the quiz 234. So that was one way. This will get full mark. This will get full mark. Why? Because I didn't mention how. So those are the two. Write the prototype for Cout. The prototype for Cout, you have to do it with your eyes closed. Okay? When I say overload an object with Cout, you have to do it with your eyes closed because the signature of the function applies to all classes in the world. Okay? This is it. Depending if it's iStream or OStream. If it's Cin or Cout, you put iStream or OStream. The first one is output, so I'll do OStream. So it's OStream, reference, operator, and again OStream, reference. That's it. And then const, whatever, reference, right operand. That's it. That whatever changes to the name of the class you're overloading for. Always, 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 always. If you just memorize that, and that's it. Okay? And the exact same thing for the iStream, for input. The only difference is that, of course, it's iStream. iStream, let's put a name over here. I'm going to put over here OS. And in here, I'm going to put IS. Okay? iStream, but the whatever that you are passing because it's changing, it's not constant. So that's it. This is the first one. This is the second one, people. That's it. There is no other way. Now, I am doing it for ODI, so I'm changing this to ODI. And this one is going to change to ODI. Now, I said prototype for the first one. Oh, the first one is prototype. Second one is overload. So second one I have to implement. To implement that, what do? I simply say write operand dot read. And I pass the OS to it. And I return that one. And I'll be frickin' quiet when the teacher speaks. Next time I'm going to bring some kind of a water gun. Return. Seriously. Pardon me? Yeah, anyways. So, or I'm going to do it like kindergarten. You know what I mean? Separate. You sit over there, you sit over there. Yes?
We have the opposite of that. So you have the prototype for...
Oh, that's the, sorry. This is a Cin, so it goes this one. There we go. Oh, one is prototype, one is version 1, version 2. Of course, I'm not going to give you the exact same thing. So you do, the other one is going to be ro.display. And if you can't change that one, quit the school right now. Go do something else. All right, are we okay? That was the quiz, and we are done with the quiz. All right? Are we okay, one? Are we okay? Yes. Pardon me? Depends. If you have IOStream, using IOStream, you don't. If you don't have it, then you have to. I'm not teaching namespaces. That's namespaces. If the namespace is available, you don't need to. If it's not available, you have to put STD scope resolution. Okay? Any other question? You had a question? Someone? Oh, okay. So you have 3 marks over there. Okay? The first one is quiz 2. The second one is quiz 3. The third one is quiz 4. And you have separate reflections for each of them. So you have to give me separate reflections for each of them. 1 for 2, 1 for 3, 1 for 4. Okay? And unless you don't, if it's full mark, no reflection required. Are we okay? Are we okay? 1? Yes. Don't talk. Okay? Yes.
I'm just confused as to why you're creating a new one for the minus operator and you're passing a reference or returning a reference with plus equal.
Give me line number.
23 and 24. Why first one's a reference and the second is your...
Oh, yes, of course. The first one is returning B out, correct? Correct? No, it's returning the B out, correct? B exists in here, right? So I can return its reference out. The second one is returning what? No, it's not returning anything. It's creating something new and it's returning. It's non-existent. So, and it's going to die within the scope of the object. I wrote the implementation over here. This is the second one. It's returning a result that exists in here. And it's going to die. You cannot return the name of a dying thing. It doesn't exist out there. You have to send a copy out. Therefore, you don't send the reference. And that gives you the message that anything returned by value will be copied. Anything returned by reference, nothing. Just the name goes out. Are we good? All right. Now, okay, so let me just save this as quiz 234. Give me a second, please. Quiz 234.cpp. Yes. Read it. It's in the thing. I'll explain. Okay, let me stop the recording.